Hello guys, today we decided to conduct an open session on economics. Today we are going to start the economics section for JKSSB Finance Accounting System. So today I'm going to give you a very brief introduction about what economics is all about. So there are many definitions given by many different economists over time, and like many other subjects, economics has evolved over the course of time. It has had a long history of its own. If we see the timeline, if we analyze the timeline of economics, the word economics got popularized in the 18th century when Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, and he defined economics as an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. At that moment of time, during the 18th century and during the 19th century, people thought that economics is all about how you gain wealth, how to accumulate wealth. आपको पैसा कैसे बनाना है, प्रॉपर्टी कैसे बनाना है, उसी को economics बोलते थे उस टाइम. So then came the उसको बोलते हैं classical school of thought. जो Adam Smith है, he's the father of classical economics. उसको बोलते हैं classical. Then comes the neoclassical school of thought. Alfred Marshall is the main proponent. Ricardo भी है उसमें, David Ricardo. And there are many other well-known economists who come from that school. According to Marshall, economics deals with the material welfare of humankind. अगर आपके पास रोटी कपड़ा मकान है, अगर आपके पास जो भी मटेरियल रिक्वायरमेंट्स है, आपकी ज़रूरतें हैं, जो मटेरियल है, जो बिल्कुल जिनको हम छू सकते हैं, जैसे आपको खाना चाहिए, जैसे आपको पीना चाहिए, आपके कपड़े चाहिए, आपको मकान चाहिए, तो ये सब चीज़ें अगर होंगी, उसी को यही सब चीज़ों को जब हम एनालाइज करते हैं, किस सोसाइटी में ये चीज़ें हैं, किस सोसाइटी में ये चीज़ें नहीं हैं, और सोसाइटी में ये चीज़ों को कैसे हम सिक्योर कर सकते हैं फॉर ऑल पॉपुलेशन, तो इसी को मटेरियल वेलफेयर डेफिनेशन ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स बोलते हैं. ये एसेंस है, ये कोर है, ये थीम है किसका? न्यू क्लासिकल स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स का, जिसके की मेन प्रोपोनेंट एल्फ्रेड मार्शल है. मार्शल ने ही आपको बताता चलो, यहाँ पे एक क्वेश्चन बनता है आपका. उन्होंने ही यूटिलिटी एनालिसिस, जो सब्जेक्टिव यूटिलिटी एनालिसिस जो आपके इकोनॉमिक्स में आने वाला जो दूसरा तीसरा टॉपिक होगा डिमांड एनालिसिस में, उन्होंने ही दिया था. तो इन्होंने ही वो कॉन्सेप्ट दिया था कि यूटिलिटी कैन बी ऑब्जेक्टिवली मेजर. हालांकि हमें फिर हिक्स एंड एलन आए, हमारे इंडिफरेंस करो आई वगैरह वगैरह, उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं, वी कैन नॉट मेजर इट ऑब्जेक्टिवली, वी कैन ऑर्डर इट, वी कैन मार्क ए सीक्वेंस कि ये चीज़ हमें इससे ज़्यादा सेटिस्फैक्शन दे रही है, लेकिन हम ये चीज़ नहीं कह सकते कि ये चीज़ हमें इतनी सेटिस्फैक्शन दे रही है और बी चीज़ हमें इतनी सेटिस्फैक्शन. हम सिर्फ ये कह सकते हैं कि एक एप्पल हमें दूसरे एप्पल से ज़्यादा मज़ा करवा रहा है. ठीक है, तो ये हिक्स एंड एलन की जो एनालिसिस है, जिसको हम इंडिफरेंस का एनालिसिस बोलते हैं, वो है. इसके बाद आपका आता है लायनल रॉबिन्स ने 20th सेंचुरी में 1890 में उसने अपनी बुक पब्लिश की. 19th सेंचुरी के लास्ट डेकेड में उन्होंने बुक पब्लिश की, प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. तो लायनल रॉबिन्स ने कहा कि इकोनॉमिक्स इज द साइंस दैट स्टडीज ह्यूमन बिहेवियर एज अ रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन एंड्स एंड स्केयर्स मीन्स. वो क्या होता है? उसने कहा जो भी मॉडर्न इकोनॉमिक्स है, अगर हम देखें आजकल आपका फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट है, आपका कोई भी जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम है दुनिया में, इकोनॉमिक सिस्टम है, ये जो चीज़ है जो लायनल रॉबिन्स की डेफिनेशन है, जो उन्होंने अपनी बुक में एनालिसिस की, उन्होंने कहा कि बहुत एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है. क्या? स्कैर्सिटी. दुनिया में स्कैर्सिटी है. स्कैर्सिटी मतलब लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं. किसी भी इंसान के पास, किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास अनलिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज नहीं हैं, और उसी से पैदा होती है चॉइस. चूँकि हमारे पास अनलिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज नहीं है हमारे पास, लेकिन हमारी जो वांट्स हैं, हमारी वांट्स और नीड्स जो है वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा है, अनलिमिटेड है. The wants are unlimited, but the means to satisfy them are very limited. Therefore, we must make a choice because we have limited resources. दुनिया का सबसे अमीर आदमी अभी तो एलन मस्क बन गया जनवरी में हमारे यहाँ पे. इससे पहले जेफ बेजोस था, अमेजॉन के CEO. उससे पहले बिल गेट्स. अगर उनको भी हम उनके व्यू पॉइंट से हम देखें तो हम विल फील रिलेटिवली डिप्राइव्ड, बिकॉज वो हर एक चीज़ नहीं पा सकते दुनिया में जो वो चाहेंगे. मनी कैन नॉट बाय एवरीथिंग. मनी कैन नॉट बाय यू पीस. मनी कैन नॉट बाय यू respect, especially in the modern material economy, in the monetary economy. It cannot buy you peace of mind, it cannot buy you respect, it cannot buy you allegiance, loyalty, etc., etc. In short, it cannot buy you everything. So, we come to the conclusion कि हमारी wants, हमारी जो demands है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है, हम ये भी चाहते हैं, हम हेलीकॉप्टर भी चाहते हैं, हम बाइसिकल भी चाहते हैं, और हम बाइक भी चाहते हैं, हम महंगे महंगे फैंसी ड्रेसेस भी मांगते हैं, हम सोना चाहते हैं, चांदी चाहते हैं। लेकिन मसला यह है कि हमारे पास जो इनकम है, हमारी इनकम बहुत लिमिटेड है। तो अब क्या करना है, अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं? इकोनॉमिक्स हमें क्या बोलती है करने को? इकोनॉमिक्स बोलती है कि आप करो ऑप्टिमम यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ स्कैर्स रिसोर्सेज। आप इन रिसोर्सेज को ऐसे इस्तेमाल करो कि आपकी जो मोस्ट अर्जेंट वांट है वो सेटिस्फाई हो जाए। ओके, तो जो रिसोर्सेज है, जो हमारी मोस्ट अर्जेंट प्रेसिंग वांट होगी एट अ पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर मेरे पास 10,000 रुपये है, 10,000 रुपये मेरा बजट है एक महीने का। क्या हुआ कि मेरा प्लान था कि मैं एक LED TV लूंगा इस महीने, ठीक है, ये मैंने अपने बजट में इंक्लूड किया हुआ है अपनी इनकम के हिसाब से। तो 15 तारीख को काम हुआ कि एक बात की बात होगी कि जो हमारा LED TV है वो हमने लेना है इस दिन, हमने शेड्यूल किया है इस दिन हम लेंगे। इसी दिन क्या हुआ कि मेरे घर में कोई बीमार पड़ गया, कोई फैमिली मेम्बर बीमार हो गया, तो उसकी ट्रीटमेंट के लिए हमारा LED TV जो है सपोज 5,000 में आता है। 5,000 बाकी खर्चे महीने के निकलते हैं इंक्लूडिंग सेविंग्स। तो 5,000 हमें अब ये इस फैमिली मेम्बर के लिए, इसकी ट्रीटमेंट के लिए लगते हैं हॉस्पिटल में। तो यहाँ हम क्या करेंगे? इकोनॉमिक्स हमें बोलती है टू प्रायोरिटाइज योर एक्सपेंडिचर। आप जो आपकी मोस्ट अर्जेंट वांट होगी, जो आपकी मोस्ट प्रेसिंग वांट होगी, वो आप पहले सेटिस्फाई करो। तो मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं उस फैमिली मेम्बर को ट्रीट करूंगा और अपनी जो लाइट टीवी की जो डिमांड है वो मैं पोस्टपोन कर दूंगा, वो मैं अगले महीने तक छोड़ दूंगा। तो इकोनॉमिक्स मीन्स वेरी वेरी रैशनल इकोनॉमिकल यूज ऑफ स्कैर्स रिसोर्सेज अकॉर्डिंग टू लायनल रॉबिन्स। और यही डेफिनेशन अगर देखा जाए तो यही डेफिनेशन आज दुनिया में चलती है इकोनॉमिक्स की। अब देखोगे फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट, बड़े बड़े फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्या करते हैं? आपको फाइनेंस दिलाते हैं, आप फिर उसको इन्वेस्ट करते हैं और उसको उस पर प्रॉफिट कमाते हैं। तो सारा खेल यही है फाइनेंस का, मैक्सिमम यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ स्कैर्स रिसोर्सेज। तो इसके बाद 1930s में ग्रेट डिप्रेशन आया दुनिया में बहुत, आफ्टर वर्ल्ड वॉर फर्स्ट, जब 1930s में दुनिया में बहुत बड़ा एक डिप्रेशन आया। डिप्रेशन क्या होता है? जब इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी इतनी कम हो जाए, प्रोडक्शन जो है, आउटपुट जो निकलता है, प्रोडक्शन निकलते हैं बिजनेस हाउसेज से या फर्म या एंटरप्राइजेज से, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है, इसी तरह से वेजेस जो इतनी ज़्यादा कम होगी। ये एक स्पाइरल होता है, एक गोल चक्कर होता है, इसे बोलते हैं इट्स लाइक ए साइकिल, बिजनेस साइकिल। कि आप क्या करेंगे, जब आपकी प्रोडक्शन कम हो जाएगी, प्रोडक्शन कम होने से क्या, जो प्रोड्यूसर है उनकी इनकम कम हो जाएंगी, अगली बार वो कम प्रोडक्शन करेंगे, जो उनका एक्सेस स्टॉक है उनको बाहर से निकालेंगे, उनको फायर कर देंगे। जब उनको फायर करेंगे वो अनएम्प्लॉयड हो जाएंगे, डिमांड कम हो जाएगी, डिमांड कम हो जाएगी तो ऑटोमेटिकली जो गुड्स है उनके लिए भी डिमांड कम हो जाएगी और इकोनॉमी में रिसेशन आएगा। जब ये रिसेशन बहुत ज़्यादा सीवियर हो जाएगा, मतलब लोवेस्ट एप पे पहुंचेगा, ट्रफ पे पहुंचेगा, ट्रफ की जो है वो जो आपकी, अगर आप ट्रफ को टेंजेंट लगाते हैं ऐसे नीचे वाली सतह, बेस वाली सतह, वहाँ पे लोवेस्ट एप पे पहुंच जाएगा तो उसको डिप्रेशन बोलते हैं। यानी कि कोई काम नहीं है, कोई इनकम नहीं है, जॉब ही नहीं है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है, बहुत ही मंदी है, मार्केट में मंदी है जिसको हम बोलते हैं। तो इसी टाइम पे आता है एक बहुत बड़ा इकोनॉमिस्ट जिसको हम बोलते हैं जॉन मेनर्ड कीन्स, फादर ऑफ मॉडर्न इकोनॉमिक्स, द फादर ऑफ मॉडर्न इकोनॉमिक्स एज वेल एज द फादर ऑफ मॉडर्न मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स। तो उसने अपनी थ्योरी दी, थ्योरी ऑफ आउटपुट, इनकम एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट। उसने अपना दिखाया कि, उसने बोला कि फ्री मार्केट इज गुड। ओके, जैसे कि क्लासिकल इकोनॉमिक्स ने बोला था कि यू शुड ऑलवेज लीव द मार्केट open. Government should not intervene in the market. The forces of demand and supply will always act in such a manner, operate in such a manner that they will always strike an equilibrium. For example, if the demand is in excess of supply, the market forces of demand and supply will operate in such a manner that the demand will increase and the supply will get reduced. Ultimately, there will be a point that demand will be equal to. So, फ्री मार्केट का मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको। फ्री मार्केट क्लासिकल इकोनॉमिक्स ने प्रपोज किया था कि एक फ्री मार्केट वो होता है जिसमें गवर्नमेंट की कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं होती है, जीरो इंटरफेरेंस। आप इनको छोड़ दीजिए, अपने हाल पे छोड़ दीजिए। जैसे आपने एडम स्मिथ ने कहा था द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ लेसिस फेयर, लीव, जो कि एक लेजन वर्ड है जिसका कि मतलब है लीव द इंडिविजुअल अलोन। बिकॉज एडम स्मिथ मानते थे, क्लासिकल इकोनॉमिस्ट मानते थे कि every human being is a rational human being. He can make those decisions which are in his best interest. So what he did, he said that government is the best which governs the least. Government intervention in the market economy, in the economy should be least. But then when the depression came in 1930s, the whole world was shaken to its foundations, to its very foundations. And Lionel, Maynard Keynes, he proposed the theory that government intervention is necessary in times of adversity like the Great Depression of 1930. And he proposed his model and said that besides the free economy, there should also be government intervention. Government should intervene, but it should be an extraordinary, tool, strategy. Government should not intervene in the market regularly, on a regular basis, but in extraordinary circumstances, like when there is a depression. For example, during the time of COVID-19, COVID-19 is another example of one of the greatest adversities that humankind has faced. And many economies, many national economies, political economies across the globe right now are bailing their economies out by coming up with economic packages to revive demand, to revive production. And what happens? Most of the developed countries, they have successfully, revived their demand. India is also, there were two packages, Atmanirbhar Bharat 1 and Atmanirbhar Bharat 2 packages to revive the Indian economy, to revive the demand, so that the engines of the economy, the cogs of the economy, they get going again. So what happens next? So the classical economists, their theories appeared in 1930s. So the monetarist school of thought, economists, that's headed by Keynes, it came to form. And afterwards, if we talk nowadays, that now there is new concept that has been added to the this arena of economics. It is development economics. We know our very own Amartya Kumar Sen, the Nobel laureate, the Nobel Prize awardee from West Bengal, who studied who was a professor at Oxford, and he got Nobel Prize for development economics for highlighting the issue of poverty and how to overcome the poverty in undeveloped countries like India. So development economics, it is the latest school of thought in economics, and alongside we've also added another dimension to economics: green economics, sustainable economics. So this is all about the evolution of economics. Now let's come to the second part of the introduction to your lecture today. That is the central problems of an economy. Every economy faces three basic central problems. What are these? Basically, these problems of what? These problems are problems of choice. What they will do in certain circumstances. The first such problem is what to produce. Every nation, every country has to face this problem: what to produce and how much to produce. What to produce means what kind of goods: luxury goods, essential goods, consumer goods, capital goods. What type? It depends upon the situation, upon the time. For example, right now we are undergoing a very adverse period of COVID-19, and healthcare, the medicine, the pharmaceutical industries, their goods are in high demand. Why? Because people need medicine, they need vaccines. So major part of the production will be shifted to those industries. You understand? So I hope you understand. So what happens? The companies, the firms will decide to manufacture more of healthcare goods than they used to do previously. And they will also decide about the quantity, how much to produce. For example, in India, the population is almost touching 1.5 billion. Although according to 2011 census, it is 1.23 billion somewhere. So you need to vaccinate 1.23 billion. So that gives you an idea of how much to produce those of goods. So this is the first fundamental problem faced by economies. And there is the second fundamental problem of choice, problem faced by an economy: how to produce those goods. There are two techniques of producing goods. One is labor-intensive technique, another is capital-intensive technique. The simple answer to that is, for example, simple explanation. In undeveloped countries like India and other South Asian nations, what do is we have surplus labor. All right. Since India is a labor surplus economy, and also because India is a welfare economy is an economy where, besides the private enterprise, the government ensures that all the people get social security, or all the people who are not rich at least get some basic minimum, entitlements to life. For example, food, shelter, and clothes. That is why we see different social welfare schemes. So we see, for example, centrally sponsored schemes that provide a lot of subsidized funds and benefits to the rural population and to the to the urban populations who are not in a condition to live their life honorably and gainfully. So our policy is to provide the government of India's policy is to provide maximum employment to all the people here, because India harbors almost 21% of the global population, whereas the total percentage of land that India has to the total percentage of world area is only 2.4%. Whereas the population India has is 21, 22, 22% of the whole global population. So, in that scenario, we see that if we do not pay enough attention, the government doesn't pay enough attention to this dimension of our economy, there will be a lot of huge, massive unemployment in the Indian economy. As a result, we are a welfare economy. We are bound to provide relief to these millions of men India has. So we have to provide them with employment. So we will use labor also because, from the economics point of view, because it is very cheaper. On the other hand, if we think of installing modern machinery like automated robotics and all, automation, if we bring in automation in our industries and in our agriculture, that will be very costly, because we have to import such technologies, such capital from outside the country, from United States of America, from other developed countries, because we do not have any indigenous technology to develop such automation in our industries and in our agriculture. And labor here is cheap, so it becomes economically viable for all of us to employ labor at cheap rates, at cheap wages, and to secure our production. So this is one of the techniques of production, labor-intensive technique of production. Then there is the second type of production, which is called capital-intensive production. What happens in capital-intensive technology of the technique of production? You employ machines. The ratio of machines to ratio of humans or workers is very high. We employ very less of humans, workers in the industry, and very, the amount of machines, the quantity of machines in the total industrial firm setup is high. So this is the scenario with developed countries. They tend to use lesser and lesser amount of labor and higher amount of capital. That is machinery. So this is the second problem that an economy faces, that all economies face globally. So then comes the third central problem of economy, that is for whom to produce. Who are our final consumers? Who are we doing production for? For example, are we doing production in the necessity segment? For example, selling salt and medicines, because everyone has to buy them. Shall we produce those goods that are luxuries? For example, jewelry, high-tech mobile phones like Apple and all, because only a few people will purchase them. The target market is very low. Only a few people will purchase them. So we have to decide which segment we have to target. So accordingly, we have to take our decision. So this is the problem of for whom to produce. Additionally, we have another growth economist like Professor Samuelson, who says that there are two more economies. As I told you, that in the timeline of economics, there are the recent school of thought, the growth economics. Professor Samuelson, who is a Nobel laureate also, and he says that there are two more decisions, central problems of economy. That is, how to achieve growth of resources and how to achieve equal distribution of resources. These are two more central problems of economy, in addition to the three that I previously talked about. So these are the central problems of economy, and you can expect one question from this section in your FAA, Finance Accounts System exam. And one very important question that can be asked from this section is, what is a PPC, production possibility curve? It is also called a production possibility frontier. It's a curve that shows different combinations of two goods, X and Y, that can be produced with a given set of resources. So it is concave in shape, whereas indifference curve, I'm telling you this because this is very important from your examination point of view. Indifference curve is convex in origin, whereas your PPC, production possibility curve, is concave. Concave means it's like this, curving inwards. So it's concave in origin, and the most important point is that it represents the central problems of an economy graphically. The production possibility curve, note it, represents the central problems of an economy graphically. This is the question that will be directly asked from this section. So let us move on to the next part of this segment, that is types of economy. If we talk about in general, there are three major types of an economy. One is the capitalist economy, the other is the socialist economy, the third one is a balance, is a trade-off or a mix between the two. That is the mixed economy. The mixed economy, now let us talk about all of them one by one. What is the capitalist economy? The capitalist economy is an economy where there is no government intervention. Like the free market agreement, free market hypothesis of the classical economists like Alfred Marshall and Adam Smith. They say, capitalists say that there should be private property. Everyone should be free to accumulate private property. Depending upon your talent, enterprise and all, you will be left alone by the state. The state will not interfere in your matters. You can accumulate as much amount of wealth as you desire. You can become Ambani, you can become Jeff Bezos, you can become Bill Gates. The state will not place a ceiling on your wealth. So you are free to do what you want. But at the same time, the state will not, in the case of a person who is not able to get basic sustenance, who is very poor, the state will not interfere. They will not provide you food because according to the capitalist argument, according to Adam Smith's arguments in the book Wealth of Nations, every human being is a rational being. They know their interests to the best. They know what is good for them and what's bad. So you have to take your own. You will die or you will live depending upon what you do. That's the capitalist economy. Private property is allowed. Okay. Then comes the second type of economy. That is the socialist type of economy. You know, Russia, China, the erstwhile USSR. There are many other countries that have this model, the socialist model. It's also called the Marxist model of economy. In a socialist type of economy, the private property is not allowed. The means of production and distribution, all the means of production are owned by the state. The private property is not allowed, although there are some ceilings on what amount of property you can acquire, but there is economic equality. Everyone is given some economic security. Everyone has economic security. The state owns all the resources. All the resources are publicly owned. So this is prevalent in China, Russia, although in a diluted form. So this was we can say the father of this school of thought, this type of economy is Karl Marx. Then we have the third type of an economy, which is the mixed economy, which is a mix of these two. And India is a mixed economy. Socialist economy is also called a centrally planned economy, like the 5-year plans in Russia. We borrowed our 5-year plans from Russia. So Russia is a socialist country. And India is a mix of socialism and capitalism. Here both things are allowed. So this might be one of the questions that might be asked, which type of economy India is. So that was a basic introduction to our economics section today. I didn't think that, I think that today we didn't require a board because these concepts, you need to grasp them, you need to understand them. There is no need of whiteboard or a marker for that. So we decided to conduct an open session. I hope you enjoyed the session. Please subscribe to our channel, JKSSB Mentored. Encourage us further to make such videos. In the coming videos, we'll make use of board. You don't worry about that. And we'll come up with lectures regularly on all sections of the JKSSB Finance Accounts Assistant exam. And have a good day. Thank you.